Ousainou and Amie Bojang were rearrested on Tuesday, 31st March 2026 after their acquittal by the High Court in Banjul on Monday, as the state swiftly filed an appeal seeking to overturn the verdict. The siblings charged with murder and aiding a suspect's escape to Senegal in a high-profile police shooting case remain in custody at the Malto Central Prison despite a court order granting them bail. Administrative delays and the state's urgent legal challenge have prevented their release, intensifying public attention on the unfolding drama. Justice Ibrahim Jaita's detailed 130-page judgment acquitted the Bojang siblings after a 2-year trial marked by intense scrutiny. The case centered on the September 2023 fatal shooting of 2 police intervention unit officers and the injury of a third personnel. The court found that the prosecution failed to prove its case beyond reasonable doubt, highlighting critical flaws in the state's evidence and investigation. A key element of the defense was Ousainou Bojang's alibi, placing him at work in Bruford during the shooting, which the prosecution failed to adequately investigate. Justice Jaita described the state's case as incomplete, unbalanced, and unverified, criticizing investigators for relying on intimidation rather than thorough fact-finding. The court also ruled that extrajudicial confessions were inadmissible because they were not video recorded as required by the Anti-Terrorism Act, undermining the reliability of the statements. Identification evidence was also problematic. The surviving victim testified she did not recognize Ousainou at the scene and only identified him later through social media, raising doubts about the prosecution's claims. Contradictory testimonies from soldiers and inconsistencies in witness statements further weakened the case. Following the acquittal, the Director of Public Prosecutions, A.M. Yusuf, announced the state's intention to appeal and requested that the accused remain in custody. However, Justice Jaita denied the remand request but granted bail with conditions, including $50,000 bond and 1 Gambian surety each. The bail would expire if the state failed to file an appeal within 30 days. Despite the bail order, the Bojang siblings remain detained due to procedural delays at the prison. According to Keksane of the Keks News, a bailiff from the Sheriff's Division waited for hours for the Director of Prison's signature to execute the release, but the Director was unavailable, leaving the family and supporters in a state of uncertainty. Immediately, Ousainou and the sister were released. Personnel of the police intervention unit rearrested them and took them to the police headquarters in Banjul, later to the Malto Central Prison again. The state's notice of appeal, filed on 31st March 2026, challenges the High Court's decision on 7 grounds. These include allegations that the judge improperly discounted extrajudicial confessions, gave undue weight to the defense alibi, failed to consider circumstantial evidence linking Ousainou to the crime scene, and overlooked the significance of his flight to Senegal as evidence of guilt. The appeal also argues that procedural lapses in recording confessions should not invalidate them once admitted, and that Amie Bojang's accessory charge should be reinstated if Ousainou's conviction is restored. The state contends the judgment is unreasonable, excessive, and unwarranted, and seeks to replace the acquittal with convictions and appropriate sentences. It also requests that the bail decision be overturned. Meanwhile, defense lawyer Dr. Lamin J. Jabo praised the acquittal as a major victory, but used the occasion to call for reforms to guarantee the independence of the Directorate of Public Prosecutions and reduce political interference. The unresolved question of who killed the police officers remains a source of national concern.